Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of H.R. 2576, the Frank R. Lautenberg Chemical Safety for the 21st Century Act, a bipartisan, bicameral bill to update the way our nation assesses and manages the risk posed by chemicals and the products that contain them. This is a sweeping legislation, Mr. Speaker, with monumental benefits for virtually every man, woman, and child in the United States. The culmination of a multi-year, multi-Congress effort, this legislation on the floor today will mark the first consequential update of the Toxic Substances Control Act, or TSCA, in 40 years. Mr. Speaker, I talked to a graduation event over the weekend, and I said this in the Rules Committee last night. In 1976, I was graduating high school. That was the year we had plaid bell-bottoms, silk shirts, platform shoes, and I had an afro. It was not a pretty sight. Much like the bill, the Toxic Substances Control Act, well-intentioned, was not a pretty sight. When TSCA was enacted in 1976, it was not meant to examine all chemical manufacturing and uses, but rather to create a backstop of protection when potential dangers were otherwise not being addressed. In the nearly 4 decades since then, concerns have mounted over the pace of EPA's evaluation of chemicals, the ability of the agency to meaningfully use its existing authority, and whether the law permits certain regulatory actions. In short, Mr. Speaker, there is a widespread acknowledgement and understandable concern that nobody is well served by the current law. This absence of a workable federal standards has also fostered a patchwork of state regulations. While well-intentioned, these state actions have ultimately led to public confusion and a marketplace that has become increasingly uneven, unpredictable, and incompatible with economic and regulatory realities. To stem the tide of uncertainty and protect Americans in every state, almost 1 year ago, this chamber passed legislation to bring TSCA into the 21st century by an overwhelming 391 to 1 vote, 398 to 1 vote. 6 months later, our friends in the other body moved their own package of bipartisan TSCA reforms. While both efforts were broadly supported, the House and Senate bills were quite different in size and scope. These differences left many issues that needed to be resolved, requiring many hours of complex discussions and difficult decisions to get us where we are today. The end result of that work is a vast improvement over current law and a careful compromise that is good for consumers, good for jobs, and good for the environment. So what does the Frank R. Lautenberg Chemical Safety for the 21st Century Act actually do? The bill gives EPA more direct tools to obtain testing information on chemical substances and improvement over the lengthy process they now face. It restructures the way existing chemicals are evaluated and regulated, allowing a purely scientific evaluation to guide those decisions. It clarifies the treatment of trade secrets submitted to EPA and ensures that the agency uses only high-quality science in their decision-making. It updates the collection of fees needed to support EPA's implementation of TSCA. And finally, it organizes the federal-state regulatory relationship in a way that promotes interstate and global commerce, while recognizing the efforts already taken by several states. I look forward to this afternoon's debate and urge my colleagues to support this landmark legislation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I reserve the balance of my time.